I can often find honesty something really hard to actually put into practice. And I don't mean the kind of honesty where, you know, you've broken something and you're too scared to tell your parents or something like that. I'm talking about a deeper kind of honesty, an honesty where you're willing to open yourself up and be truthful about maybe how you're feeling, how your day's been, what you're struggling with. I find it, especially in the season of life I'm in right now, really quite difficult to just be honest with, actually I'm really struggling with this, you know, I'm really finding it difficult to be able to put this into practice, or just something like that. And I feel like it can be really easy for people to say like, oh, you need to do this, or like just be, you know, open and communicate about it all, and just make the most out of things by being honest about how you're doing. But actually putting that into practice can be really difficult. For example, I find it being really hard being honest about, you know, needing help and admitting that I am struggling with something. So for example, with my uni course, if I'm struggling to understand something, I can find it really like intimidating to go to the lecturers or go to somebody that could help me, to be like, I'm really struggling with this, I don't understand how to move forward from this, I don't understand how I can, you know, do it best. I just don't, you know, I feel like there's a part of us as humans that is, we feel like it could be a sign of weakness to go and ask for help, but it's really not. And I want to encourage you that we all can, you know, improve in ourselves if we're more honest. And I feel like for me, honesty is about being open and truthful about how you're doing, and not seeing it as a sign of weakness or something to be shy about and scared of how people might react. Because if you think about it, when you're honest and open, that's when you can receive help and actually, you know, move forward and do something better and easier, and almost have a weight off your shoulder because you've been honest and you've asked for help and it's actually been given because somebody is there to help you. For example, with my uni course, my lecturers are there to support me. You've probably got people around your life that want to help you and want to see you grow and are there for you to push you up in life. And I just want to encourage you to, you know, use those people and reach out to people that are there for you to help you. You know, God is there you know, always there in us. His spirit is in us if you've accepted Jesus, and God is always, you know, there waiting for you to pray with him and have a conversation with him. And I just want to encourage you that, you know, if you feel there's nobody that you can really be honest with around you, like physically a person, God is always there, and he's always, you know, he's not going to be like, I'm not listening to you today. He's always hearing what you're saying. He knows what you're thinking. He knows it before you even say it. So there's no reason to fear about what might happen, because God can use people in your life to speak to you and speak through them to help you. And recently, a few weeks ago, I felt really like I was struggling with lots of things. I felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I was like, just surrendered it to God. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not made to carry the weight of this. I'm not made to carry the weight of this anxiety that I'm feeling, this hardship, this just uncomfortableness. Like, I'm not made to do that. You didn't create me to carry that thing. You didn't let Jesus die on the cross so that I would continue to carry all the hard things in life. You sent Jesus to die for me so that I don't have to carry those things anymore. I don't have to feel shame about things that I've done. I don't have to, you know, suffer alone, because Jesus has died for me to help me, and so that all the sin is now on him. You know, he is there to help you, and Jesus has died so that you don't need to carry that anymore. You're not made to carry it. Jesus died on the cross so that you can lay it at his feet. You can lay it at the cross and say, you know what, Jesus, you died for me, and I'm going to recognise that and actually submit what I'm feeling anxious about, what I'm feeling stressed about, what I'm, you know, struggling with, or whatever it is. I can give that to you because I know that that's what you did, you know, all those thousands of years ago on the cross. You did that for me so that I would actually reach out to you and admit when I need help, and not know that it's a sign of weakness. And even if it is weakness, Paul says in the Bible that he is all the more glad to boast about his weaknesses, because it shows Jesus's strength and power even more. And I just think that's so encouraging, that like our weaknesses can be used for God's glory. And everything in life that, you know, we may be struggling with or find hard, and we can't really see the reason for why it's happening in that particular moment, God uses it all for glory. And if we just offer it to him and, you know that God actually does have the power and he's got it in his hands, we can just offer it to him and be like, that God, you can just take it because I can't hold it anymore. I shared it in a video, I don't know, a while back. It just comes to my mind now, about how there was this animal, I can't remember what animal it was now, but they'd like reach inside to a a tree to get a nut out, and then their fist would be shut when they've got the, let's say it's a nut, so then they couldn't pull their arm out, but they had to release their arm, and that's when they could pull out. And it's almost like we just need to drop it. Whatever we're feeling like we don't want to give to God, we just simply need to drop it, and then we can feel this such relief. We've been able to get our arms out of where we've been trapped. We've been able to just let go. And it's like those few weeks ago when I just surrendered it to Jesus, I woke up the next day feeling so much more happy, and just literally I felt like a weight had been lifted off. I don't think I've ever felt that to such an extent before, but I felt like I was just lighter, and it was just so amazing. I want to encourage you that you can do the same thing. God can use our weaknesses, he can use it, and that's not something to be afraid of. Honesty is so good, and it will help us to develop the fruits of the Spirit, help us to develop joy if we're being honest with those around us, because it will make us feel like we've been truthful, and we can move forward rather than keep staying where we are. We can actually move forward to what God's calling us to if we're honest and accept help from other people around us, and then that will give us the joy to keep going and moving. And even in the times when we are struggling, we can twist our viewpoint to see joy and just declare that over us. And I think it's also just standing in God's promises and being in the Bible, God's got promises about us, about our lives and what he's got for us, and it's just praying with confidence, knowing that God's promised stuff to us, and we can pray in that confidence and faith that will actually come. I think it's such an important thing about being a Christian. It's not just being a Christian, it's having faith, and having faith is a verb. It's a doing thing. You have faith, you have to walk in faith, you have to believe in faith, and just it's something in you that you have to choose faith. You need to act it out and go through that. And that's not to say it's easy, because it's something that you have to do. Nothing that you do is ever easy, is it really? So it's the same with faith. It's not going to be easy, but it's when we're honest and open and ask God for help, ask those around us for help, that we can actually move forward into what God is calling us to, and witness and see his faithfulness, and then carry that through us when we reach our next thing that we need to be honest about. We can be like, oh wow, last time I needed help and I was honest about it, God brought me to here, and now I just need to do the same thing again, and then I can move to there. And it's just such a pattern that we often forget, and I think it can be really helpful if we write down all the times that we've seen in our past that God has actually helped us and provided for us, because then we can look back in those times of discouragement and be like, oh wow, God really helped me. If I'd have carried on my way, then I would not be where I am today, or I would not have learned the lessons I've learned today. And that can be really hard, and some things you may not see the answer to, or you may not see why that had to happen. You may not see it ever, or you may see it in 10, 20 years, who knows, but you could see it the next day. And I think that can be really encouraging to just write down the things that you've been struggling with, or the things that you've seen God help you with, because it can be useful to be like, oh, actually, I was struggling with that thing last week, and I've just realised that God actually, I prayed about it, and then God actually helped me with that, but I've only just seen it now, because it's so easy to forget these things. And I think it's just really good to write it down. So I just want to encourage you to be honest with those around you, be honest with God, and just let him know how you're feeling. He's there for you because he cares for you, and he wants you to cast your cares on him. And I just think that's so encouraging, and I just hope that you can take that into your week ahead and know that being honest is not something to be scared about. It's something that shows bravery, and it's what we're called to as family and believers, is a community. And God wants us to be in a community with people that can help each other and be united in a body. So just be honest with those around you, but be honest with God as well. And just, even though he knows what's going on and he can see you, I think it's so important to just actually have that time of prayerfulness and being like, God, this is actually how I'm feeling. You already know how I'm feeling, but I just really want to chat through with you, because it's like talking to a friend. Your friend can maybe see that you're upset, but they still value and want you to have the conversation where they unpick it, And it's the same thing with God. He cares for us where he wants us to unpick it with him, and he wants us to talk about it with him. We can't develop in our relationship with God if we don't talk to him, which is the same with any relationship in life. We're not going to move forward anywhere with any of our relationships if you don't have that time and you don't talk and spend time with each other. So yeah, just be honest. And I think that is really easy to say and hard to do, but it is something that once you've done it, you feel so much better and like, why didn't I do that before? That's actually such a good thing. And then write it down to remember it, so that next time you come to the same issue again, you can be like, oh, I'll just be honest again, like I was last time. And then I'll actually be able to see how God is helping me and how I can actually move forward without this becoming such a big issue again, because I've been honest and I learn how to do it, and it almost becomes a discipline of, I've done it once, I can do it again, and I'll do it again, and I'll do it again, and I'll do it again. So, I mean, it's really hard to do, I'm not saying that, but I just think honesty is really, really important, and just knowing the deepness of honesty rather than the small little things, but how deep it can actually go and how it can actually help you in your walk with Christ and in your life to just develop further in your faith.